Okay, hi. I think I've got all my poop in a group here, so I'm gonna jump right in. Hi there, my name is Melissa, and this is the Stitches Be Slippin podcast. It is mostly about knitting and the things that I knit and want to knit and all of that fun stuff. Every once in a while something else creeps in, like crocheting, or I had a brief stint with spinning. Sometimes I tend to like children's crafts, like diamond dots or diamond painting. I have done a little bit of like paint by number painting. Anyway, like I said, I have ADHD and I get easily distracted by other things, but mostly I knit. And this is mostly a knitting podcast. This is my knitting room. Welcome to my knitting room, if I didn't say that already. What else did I not say? I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And I don't know, I like to knit. What has been going on? It's only been a couple weeks. I'm trying to get back on a more regular schedule since the summer is over and we're not traveling all over the place anymore. My kids are back in school. They've gotten nice and settled in. Did you get a little glimpse of? We'll talk about it in a minute. Just relax. Yeah, kids are back in school. We're back into a bit of a rhythm. Here we go on a tangent. We've tweaked our morning schedule recently. It was becoming a very frustrating experience for me every morning trying to get the boys ready for school. If you haven't been here before, my boys are 8 and 10, almost 9 and almost 11. And every morning they get up, they come up, their bedrooms are in the basement. They come upstairs for breakfast, and then I send them downstairs to have their showers before school. And they just don't. So I'm like going upstairs, trying to get ready, going downstairs, trying to get them in the shower, just like doing all of the things. And they have, I think, 45 minutes between when they're finished breakfast to when we have to leave. And it's still a struggle to get them both in the shower and out of the shower. And I posted something about this on Instagram in my stories a few days ago about just getting them to just not stand around in the basement naked chatting with each other is a struggle. So anyway, we've tweaked our schedule a little bit in the morning, and now when they wake up, they have to get in the shower and then they can come eat breakfast. So it's working out a little bit better because they want to eat, they're hungry, so they get in the shower and they're not like quite awake yet and not like crazy and just want to play and whatever, so they're not. Anyway, it's working a little bit better now. I should knock on some wood here. Oh, that was my floor. Anyway, school is going well, and I've been enjoying them being back in school. Activities have started. Like I said last time, my younger son decided not to play hockey this year, which is good for him because he just wasn't into it. So he's been doing, I put him in, he came up with all these ideas. He wanted to do badminton since he discovered badminton at the cabin this summer. So he's been doing badminton class, I guess you want to call it. And he's finding that a little boring because it's sort of like an intro to badminton. And so they just kind of stand around and practice how to swing their racket. And he is, the first day he was like, well, that wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be. But they're slowly working up to it, to hitting the birdie back and forth to each other. And he's also been doing rock climbing, which is really fun. We live really close to Mount Royal University here in Calgary, and they have an excellent little climbing center at the university. And so they have a program. It's like, I think it goes for like 2 months. So he goes climbing every weekend, once a week. And he's just absolutely loving that. He's definitely built for it. He has very strong upper body, and he loves climbing and jumping off of things. So he gets to climb, and then he gets to like push himself off and like go all the way down. So it's great. He is having a blast doing that for sure. His arms are tired at the end for sure, because you're always just pulling yourself up. Yeah, so I have a picture here of him at the top just a few days ago. I think he's 3 stories up at that point. So it's really high, but he's having a lot of fun. Anyway, this is boring. What else? My older son, his hockey season starts tonight. He has his first practice. My husband coaches him, so they have their first practice tonight. And what else? Skateboarding. We've been doing lots of skateboarding. I've been taking skateboarding lessons / skateboarding camp once a week, and that has been really fun. My husband's come with me a couple times too, because he wants to get back into it. He was a skateboarder in high school. So yeah, that's been really fun. It's the weather is starting to turn, and snow is probably going to be coming soon, because in Calgary we go from summer and then fall is like 3 minutes, and then it's winter for 6 months. So it's probably coming soon. And we have some skateboard ramps that we bought in our backyard that we kind of play around on. And we've been actually tossing around the idea of putting them in our basement for the winter, because our basement is, you could call it developed. I mean, it has carpet and it has paint and it has walls, so I guess you could call it that. Their bedrooms, or they have like actual bedrooms in the basement, but our carpet down there is very old, and the cat mostly lived down there and made a mess. Like, she was constantly throwing up hairballs and stuff all over that carpet down there, so it desperately needed a clean. And so what we were thinking, we've always been wanting to replace that carpet down there, but now that she's gone, and now that Sophie is no longer with us, we can do that. But we thought, if we're gonna rip up that carpet anyway, we should just rip up the carpet, put the skateboard ramps in for the winter, and then we can replace the carpet when it gets nicer out and we can skateboard outside again. So that's temporarily the plan right now. What else? At my skateboarding, not this, like a week and a half ago, I went down hard. I'm wearing all my padding. I have my wrist guards and my elbow guards, or elbow pads and my knee pads and my helmet. Like, I'm fully, but I wasn't wearing butt pads, which I think there are an actual thing, but I don't have them. And I went down on my side. I went down on my elbow pad, which it was good. It was there, and like on my side on my hip. And I've had the most massive bruise it's been a week and a half. It's almost 2 weeks now. It's fading now, but it's like this big, just purple, like dark. I actually, at work last week, I said to Shelly and Krista, I work at Polka Dot Creek, by the way, yarn. I'm a yarn dyer there, if you are new here. Anyway, Shelly is my boss. She runs Polka Dot Creek, and Krista is the other dyer that I work with. And I was like, this might be inappropriate, but you guys have got to see this. And I pulled my pants down past my butt, and I was like, look at this bruise. So they thought that was funny. We have a lot of interesting conversations about body parts and body movements and things. So we're all kind of stuck back there sucking vinegar and dye fumes all day. So it gets a little silly back there anyway. So I didn't think they would care if they saw my butt bruise. Yeah, anyway, moving on from butt bruises. My husband was away for a couple of nights last week. So you know what that means. I stayed up way too late knitting, and so it's fun when he goes away, because then I can just like knit. But it's also bad because he's the one that always tells me it's time to go to sleep now. So it's good when he comes home, and then I can like actually get a good night's sleep. So that was good and bad, and not bad. It was good. And yeah, I'm going to my parents' place this weekend. They live on a farm about an hour and a half north and west of Calgary. Gonna go visit with them this weekend. My mom is actually having knee replacement surgery on Thursday. So I'm gonna go. She probably will be getting home on Friday, hopefully. So I'm gonna go on Friday and spend the weekend there with them and just helping my mom with whatever she needs. Yeah, so I'll take some knitting with me, of course. I'm not sure what I'm gonna take with me because I think I might possibly be done my most active whip. I have another thing that I can take. We'll talk about that later. I'm almost wrapping this up. There's not a lot of, like I said, back into a routine. Not a lot of crazy interesting things happening. One fun thing that happened to me, I don't know, it was last week maybe. A new podcaster called Mari. She started, my brain is going a million different directions here. Her name is Mari. She is Colorado Knitter on Instagram. She started her own podcast, and she tagged me in her like show notes and stuff in her last post. I think it was episode 2. And so I went and watched that, and she was shouting out podcasts that she really likes to watch, and she named me, which was pretty fun. So you should go watch her. I'll return the favor. Go watch Colorado Knitter. She is adorable, and she makes beautiful, beautiful projects. She is a very beautiful knitter. And she has excellent taste in podcasts. One other thing that she did in that podcast, she was talking about a row counter for your watch. What was it called? I can't remember what it was called. Go watch her podcast. I'm not going to give away her secrets. It's not a secret. But I did go and download that row counter, and it's working quite well. It's nice. You can have 2 projects on the go, and so far it's working well. It hasn't reset to 0, which is what happened with another app that I had on my watch. I would go back to my project and it had reset to 0, which was really frustrating. So this one's working well. I'll try to remember and put like a title here that says what it's called. One last shout out. I have a new hero. Her name is Sheila. Hi, Sheila. I love you, boo. Sheila, I don't know if you've been here long enough, but if you've been here for a while, you will know that I attempted to make a crocheted granny square cardigan, and it went really, really badly. And I gave up on it, and I set it aside, and I joked on my podcast that if anyone out there wanted to fix it for me, that I would send it to them. And Sheila put her hand up and sent me an email or a message on Instagram and said, I would be happy to fix this for you. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, this is my disaster. I should try to fix it myself. And so I kind of put it in the naughty corner for a while. And then I took it back out and I ripped out all the joins and tried to go at it again to see if I could do it right this time. Still didn't get it right. Total disaster. And so it went back into the naughty corner for a while again. And I pulled it out again and could not bring myself to try a third time to make it work. So I reached out to Sheila and asked if she was still interested in helping me. And she said, yes, send it to me. I'd love to help you. So everyone, give a big round of applause to Sheila, please. She received my package, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and she's already ripped the whole thing apart and is trying to rejoin it for me. So yes, thank you, Sheila. Thank you. Even if it doesn't work, thank you for trying. So I'll keep you posted on that and we'll see how it goes. She is also starting the MCAL next week and told me that she is going to try and finish it before MCAL starts. And I'm like, it is not a rush. This thing has been in a corner of my knitting room for months. So Sheila, no pressure. It'll get done when it gets done. I'm not in a rush. Yeah, anyway, moving on. Let's talk about knitting, shall we? You may notice a stunning new garment that I am wearing. No, it's not store-bought. I made it. This is called the Winter's Beach Cardigan, and it is by Andrea Mowry. It was Drea Renee Knits on Instagram, and it is a gorgeous. Look at all these beautiful cables going up and down. I'm even gonna turn and give you a view of the back. I don't know if you can see that. And while I'm standing, I'll give you a little peekaboo of the pocket lining, because it's my cardigan and I can do whatever I want. And I love neons and neutrals. And totally honest, this was not an original idea of mine. I saw someone, I was going through the Ravelry projects on Ravelry, obviously. And I saw someone had done that and was like, yes, that is what I am going to do 100%. So, I don't even have, this has been done for like a week, so I don't have, I do have some yarn over there, but I can just tell you about it. So this yarn is from Polka Dot Creek, which is my ride or die, which is where I work. And yes, I dyed this yarn, well, sort of, very, very lightly. So this is DK Tweed, and I did dye it just very, very lightly. We have a colorway called Sand, which is like a beige sand color. And I wanted sort of that tone, but lighter. So this is just like a couple of shades darker than the natural DK Tweed, but I really like how it looks. The natural, I think my mail carrier just dropped off our mail. The natural DK Tweed is lighter. It's like a light cream color. So anyway, I'll stop talking about that. I just used a lighter or a less dye, less saturated dye for this, but it turned out really, really, really good. What else do I have to talk about? I mean, I talked about this pretty extensively in my last podcast when it was a whip, but as I mentioned, I learned how to cable without a cable needle, so that made it go way faster. So if you know how to cable, this is fully doable. I really like, there's a number of things that I really like. So this band is not picked up afterwards. This is knitted at the same time as you're knitting everything back and forth. So that's a perk. It is bottom up, but when you like, this goes, the panel that you're knitting back and forth on for the body goes like out to here basically. So you're not like, once you get up here, you bind this off together, the front and the back. And then when you're doing this, the sleeves, you add, was it before the sleeves or after? Might have been before the sleeves when I was doing, like after you separate here to do the top portions and the back, you just cast on a few extra stitches like here to make that part go a little bit longer, so the drop shoulder is longer, so it goes down to there. But anyway, I don't know if any of that's making sense, because it makes sense to me because I did it and I experienced it. Sometimes it's hard to explain knitting things when you're not doing it, because it's just gibberish. Anyway, the other thing that I really liked is, so that is where this here is where I picked up for sleeves. So my sleeves, this is rolled up. I actually didn't do as long of ribbing on the cuff. You're supposed to do, I can't remember, I think it was like 8 inches and then roll it over so it's 4 inches. And I didn't do that because I have pretty short arms, so I can wear it like this, or I can wear it folded up. I tend to like my sleeves a bit shorter. I don't like them hanging down over my hands. So I tend to wear them just folded up like that. Yeah, so the easier it is for me, the better. So when I'm just knitting the body like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and this is included, and then all I have to do is this much sleeve, yeah, it's great. These cables are not complicated cables. These are just 2/2 and 2/2. You just have to pay attention to which way you're making them go to make them do that. And this is just double seed stitch, so like easy peasy. If you know how to knit and you know how to purl, you can do this cardigan. Cabling's not hard. You just have to know how to follow the chart. Yes, so I finished this, and then I was doing some calendar math in my head, thinking when MCAL starts and how many things I can get done before MCAL starts. MCAL is Mystery Knit Along. If you don't know, Stephen West was like kind of the be all and end all for some people. Some people don't like his stuff, but he's very creative, let's say. He makes some very creative designs, and he does a Mystery Knit Along every year, and I'm going to do it this year, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. So that starts next week on Thursday, October 5th. We get our first clue. So I was trying to calculate in my head, how many sweaters can I knit before that? I knew I could definitely get one done, and I did. I've gotten one done already, and then I'm working on something else. So anyway, that one that I got done is called the Clove sweater. And yes, the needles came off of this. I immediately blocked it, put it on my blocking mats, and then I immediately cast this on. This is yarn that I bought in Montreal at Knit City, and it has just been burning a hole in my stash ever since. I've had this exact sweater, this exact yarn in my mind, in the back of my brain the whole time, just waiting, like thinking, I need to cast that on, I need to cast that on. And so I did. I'm just going to, okay, sorry about that. Hopefully that didn't screw up my video. My husband was phoning me, and I record this on my phone. Last time I was recording on my phone, I think my mom called, and then my video was kind of screwed up and didn't have sound, so hopefully that hasn't wrecked it. Anyway, this is my Clove sweater. The designer is Rachel, I think it's Kurihara, but I will put as always, I will put the pattern names, designers, yarn makers, everything in my notes below. So this is just a very simple drop shoulder kind of croppy sweater, and it is exactly what I wanted. Where to start? I've done a few drop shoulder cardigans, but I haven't done a drop shoulder pullover. And I tend to buy, like if I'm buying a sweater in the store, it tends to be a drop shoulder. And I don't have it in here. I had a sweater that I bought, I think it was from H&M or something years ago, that was like the exact fit that I was going for. And when I saw this pattern, I can't even remember it. I've had this pattern in my head for quite a while. I knew I wanted to try it and see if it was the right one, and this is the right one. I am going to be making many more of this pattern because it's exactly what I wanted. So it's a DK weight pattern, so it knits up quite fast. I knit this in like a week, but I maybe have more knitting time than other people do. This yarn is Sonder Yarn Co., and it is yarn I bought, like I said, in Montreal when I went to Knit City. Ooh, look, my nails almost match. That's fun. The colorway, I'm all over the place here. Sonder Yarn Co. Sunday Morning DK. So it is a non-superwash yarn, so it's 75% BFL, which is blue-faced luster, and 25% Masham. That is the base. And the colorway is called I still can't get that to focus, even if I duck behind it. So this is another ball that I've got all wound up. I ended up only needing 3 skeins, just because the gauge is a bit looser. I think my gauge is was a bit bigger than the pattern called for anyway, but I was okay with that because they are meant to have ease, so I figured I was close enough. So the things I love it's a folded over collar, so it's got really nice structure and doesn't stretch out when you're wearing it. I don't love this right here, so you pick up your stitches around the collar and knit however much, and then you do a purl row, and then you knit that same amount, and then you're gonna like attach it down here. So the purl row is to give it like a clean place to fold, but I don't love the edge that it creates. I don't know if you can see that. I mean, no one's ever gonna notice that but me, but it's whatever. It's a nice drop shoulder. It's I followed the pattern pretty exactly. I think I did maybe 1 inch more than I was supposed to under here, but I like how it turned out. It's got a split hem. You're supposed to do the split hem. That's called for in the pattern. I made the back hem just a little bit longer than the front hem just because I like how that fits and how it looks when you wear it. So yeah, I don't know how much else I have to say about that, but I will definitely be making more of these. The yarn, Sonder Yarn Co., like I said, it felt, like I said, it's non-superwash, mostly BFL. It's more rustic for sure than just a merino or a superwash. I was a little bit worried about it. Like as I was knitting it up, it looked like my stitches don't always look the best when I'm knitting. Anyway, I don't understand people who have like their knitting looks like it's been blocked when it hasn't. Like what I'm saying is like my knit stitches just kind of are all wonky always. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the way that I tension my yarn or the way that, I don't know what it is. It always looks like a mess. And this, I'm kicking myself because I had it in my brain. I really wanted to take a before and after picture of this before and after blocking because it's massively different. I put this on, like I tried it on after I bound off and it was done, and it looked like shit, to be totally honest, just because my stitches are so messy. And then I blocked it and it did the yarn, like it all just magical blocking. All of the knit stitches look nice now. And it got drapier too. This yarn is really, really light. I don't know if it, like, I don't think it's woolen spun, like you can see the twist on it. But I don't know. I'm not an expert on woolen spun and worsted spun. But maybe it's just the type of fiber they use, the BFL and the mesh. It's really, really, really light. Like it does not feel like a DK weight sweater. And it drapes quite nicely too. And it did not drape like this before I blocked it. So if you're working with this yarn and you're a little worried about how it feels and how it looks, blocking makes a big difference. I think that was all I had to say about that one. I don't know. I think so. Then I was talking for long enough. And then I have one more FO to show you. This is a colorwork cowl that I did in like, I think over the span of 24 hours. It's, how do I begin this? So Gary Knits, Gary Rides. You should go follow him on Instagram. He has a make along called the End Aids. I think it's called the End Aids Make Along, or the End Aids Cal knit along / crochet along. He is a cyclist and he does the, I think it's called the End Aids. I'm talking out my ass here. Go check out Gary Knits Gary Rides. He has this awesome knit along where he is fundraising, and all the proceeds go to an AIDS foundation where he lives, which is in California. And so he raises money for this big long bike ride that he does, and that is for this AIDS foundation. Anyway, his knit along / crochet along make along has a whole bunch of different yarn dyers that are involved, some different crochet patterns, some different knit patterns, and they were doing a giveaway. I did not prepare for this. I didn't bring my tags with me. I just brought my FO, and I don't know where I think that the tags are in that up there, actually. I should get them. Hang on. Okay, I got my tags. I went up there and grabbed the jar, and poor Blanche fell on her ass because she's one of the ones that doesn't stand up on her own. So poor Blanche, she was flat out on her back, but that's how she likes it. So yes, so Gary was doing some giveaways. One of the patterns in his knit along portion is called the Palm Springs Cowl by Casey Knits, and again, I'll put the link to that pattern down below, and to Gary's YouTube. He has an awesome podcast, so go watch that. All of the information on his fundraiser and all that stuff is on his Instagram page, and he talks about it on his YouTube channel. So the Palm Springs Cowl is one of the patterns in the knit along, and the yarn dyer connected to that is Trilogy Yarns, and so they were giving away a kit. So they're giving away the pattern and the yarn to make it, and I won the giveaway. I never win anything, so it's very exciting when I win giveaways. So the yarn is Trilogy Yarns, and it's their sport base. And I've been watching Kevin and Ray of Needles at the Ready for long enough that I've wanted Trilogy yarn for a really long time. But being Canadian, I rarely ever order any yarn from the States just because the exchange rate is so horrible and the shipping is insane, and I very rarely, if ever, buy yarn from the US, which sucks because there's so many amazing yarn dyers in the US that I would love to order from. But thankfully, there are also a lot of amazing yarn dyers in Canada that I can get stuff from. I digressed again. So Trilogy Yarn, this is their sport weight base. It's 100% superwash merino, and the colors that I won as part of this kit are called Eggplant and Sand Dune. And I don't know which way is up here, but I think it's like this. So this is my finished Palm Springs Cowl. Now you may notice, if you are familiar with this pattern, there's not as many repeats in here. So as part of her pattern, she gives instructions on how to figure out, so the pattern is for sport weight / fingering weight. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that because that's gonna take me too long. So I decided to hold it double and knit it at a worsted weight gauge. So she has instructions in your pattern. So if you know what gauge, then how to calculate how many stitches to cast on, etc. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to do that either. So I'm a bit lazy when it comes to figuring things like this out. I just want to cast it on. So my friend Nicole, who is Prof Pearl on Instagram and Professor Pearl YouTube, Professor Pearl podcast on YouTube, she was also making one in a worsted weight, and I had watched her podcast and I saw that she had cast on. So I messaged her and said, hey, how many stitches did you cast on? So I wouldn't have to figure it out. And of course she's lovely and helped me out and told me how many stitches she cast on. And so that's what I did. And this is how it turned out. So it's quite lovely. So the reason I'm saying there isn't as many repeats is because I was using worsted weight yarn. So my gauge was bigger. And so my row gauge was bigger. And it would have, if I'd have done 3, like this is a pretty good size cowl. If I'd have done, I think it calls for 3 repeats. I can't remember. If I'd have done that, it would have been like a full body tube. So this is how it turned out. It's quite nice. I did make one boo-boo. You can see here, right here, you can see I accidentally did 2 rows of the eggplant instead of 1. I just wasn't paying attention and just, I guess, did an extra row, but I don't care. Now you can't unsee it, right? You didn't see it before, but now you can see it. Anyway, I wanted to make the pattern because I was very excited about winning the giveaway, and it's a really nice pattern. It's an excellent pattern for beginner if you haven't done color work before, because the longest float is I think 6 stitches, and it only happens I think once or twice in the entire repeat, maybe once. So yeah, it's really fun. It, like I said, it flew off my needles because I made it at a bigger gauge. And this is the start of my Christmas gift knitting. So this is going to be probably for one of my kids' teachers, I think, to keep them warm when they're outside supervising at recess and it's 20 below. So yeah, that's good to get started on gift knitting. That's also why I'm not going to have super lots of whips to show you, or whips or FOs to show you, because I have started my Christmas gift knitting in earnest. I've got at least 2 or 3 other things that I'm working on or have finished, but they're secret. And they wouldn't be secret, but they are for people who watch this podcast. So I will try to keep track of them all and show pictures after they've been gifted, but I don't tend to remember things, so we'll see about that. On to whips. Works in progress. Let's talk about whips, baby. This whip that I'm going to show you right now is my main whip at the moment. She's my main squeeze. She doesn't have a name yet, but that doesn't make her any less special. My lovely friend Nicole, who is Prof Pearl on Instagram, designed, she's like, I don't know how she does it. She's a math education professor. She has like a PhD in math or something, which is amazing. And I don't know. Sorry, Nicole, if I got that wrong. But like, I just think anybody who has that high level education is just amazing. And she's a full-time job as a professor at a university and like has office hours and is like mentoring doctorate students, and it's PhD, like she's like an all-star in my mind just for all of that. Plus she's like, just, oh, I think I'm just gonna knit and design. I'm just gonna design and knit a shawl this month, and boom, done. Like, I can barely like get myself out of bed and feed myself during the day sometimes. So Nicole, you're killing it. Anyway, this is her new design. In her last podcast, she called for testers, which was just this past week. And so I don't even think she has sent the pattern to testers yet. I just immediately messaged her and said, I'm going to test that for you. Well, I did ask nicely. I said, please, can I test it for you? And she said, yes, sure. And I think the test starts maybe October 1st or something. And I said, can I get the pattern early, please? Because I'm starting the MCAL on October 5th and I want to be done by then. So hello, high maintenance test knitter, but she was very gracious and kind and sent it to me. I think she probably had to like write it so that she could send it to me. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a little high maintenance. I'm having trouble with my... So anyway, it is a beautiful fingering and mohair weight and mohair held together, mostly garter, but with some rows of eyelets. And it's just going to be a nice big triangle. It's the whole pattern is 1 skein of fingering, 1 skein of mohair, and the beauty of this pattern is you just knit till you run out of yarn. There's no end. You just, when you're almost out of yarn, you bind off. So lots of us have a single skein of yarn that we don't know what to do with. And lots of them, like this is a solid color, tonal, both the fingering and the mohair. But another great thing would be like one of those like crazy speckled skeins that you bought that you didn't really know what you were going to use it for. And when you hold that with a single color mohair, it just kind of blends it all, mutes it, and just kind of makes it into a new, not a new color, but like gives it some uniformity, some evenness. So I think that would also look great. I will tell you, I have plans. I'll tell you what I'm using for it. I'm using to knit, what yarn I'm using. I should not have done this today. My brain is not working very well today. Okay, so my wool gathering shawl that is also a Nicole Prof Pearl design, is the same yarn but different color. So this is called the Halo Bundle, and I got this at the Beehive Wool Shop in Victoria when I was there this summer. It is handmaiden / fleece artist. So handmaiden fleece artist. It's sort of like two different companies under the same umbrella, I think, is what I can, as far as I've gotten to figure out. So it came twisted together as a bundle, the two skeins together. The fingering weight is the Merino Slim 100% merino wool. So it's it doesn't say superwash on the front, but on the back it says machine washable, so I guess it must be. So it's a single ply, and it's this colorway is called Jacobean or Jacobine. I think it's Jacobean. And the mohair is handmaiden, 70% mohair, 30% nylon. Angel hair is what they call it. And so it's just the two different bases dyed with the same color. So it looks really, really cool. You can see like all the, they're both very tonal. So they have some lighter sections and darker sections, which I think is amazing. And when you hold them together, it creates, you can't see the tonality as much. You can't see the variations in color as much. And it's fingering and mohair and the light coming in. You can, well, maybe you can see it a little bit. Anyway, now I have mohair. That was stupid. So yeah, I really love how it's working up. Nicole, in her first sample, used a slub yarn held together with mohair, and I thought that looked really interesting. And I happen to have a skein of slub yarn in my stash that I've had for quite a while that I did not know what I was going to do with. This actually, I won the, maybe I do win things. This was, I submitted something into a Grocery Girls knit along once, and I won like the draw or whatever, and they sent me a prize. And this was one of the things that they sent me. It's called Full Moon Fibers is the dyer. It's called Moon Rock Slub is the base. So it's 90% superwash merino and 10% nylon. But it's got all those like fluffy bits. The colorway is called Jewel Bouquet, and it's just gorgeous. It's got all these like different purples and blues and a little bit of that kind of rusty cinnamony color and some burgundy. Like, it's really, really beautiful. But this was, like I said, in a giveaway, and so I have one skein of it, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. It's like, I love it. I think it's beautiful, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So I thought maybe if I do another one of these, which I'm gunta. I have this kind of lilac-y, purpley, what is it? It's 37% Surrey and 37% mohair and 26% silk. So if that doesn't sound like goddamn heaven, I don't know who, I don't know what's wrong with you. I know some people don't like fluff. That's okay. I love the fluff. Oh, that was a good screenshot. Yeah, so I thought maybe holding these together might work. This was the first thing I pulled out of my stash when Nicole said that, yes, I may test this for her. This was the first thing I pulled out. And then I couldn't figure out what to hold with it, like what color of mohair or suri or whatever to hold together with it. So this was my original idea. And then I thought, I don't know how it's gonna work. So I don't want to like do my test with it if I don't know how it's gonna turn out. I want it to be beautiful. So I knew that I had this. This was perfect because it was one skein and one skein. It was the exact right amount of yarn. I have lots of stuff in there that I have like 2 skeins of fingering and 2 skeins of mohair. And those I have like kind of earmarked for sweaters. Like that would be perfect for a Clove sweater, I think, because 3 skeins of DK, I should be able to do a Clove sweater for sure with 2 skeins of mohair and 2 skeins of fingering, I would think, as a DK weight. Oh, I'm so for sure gonna do that. Anyway, so this is, once I finish this, I should be finished this by the end of the weekend, I would think, because it's just like basically 1 skein, because it's 2 skeins, but you're holding them together, so it's really 1. Girl math? Yeah. So once I finish that, I still have my wool gathering that I'm working on. I'll show you that. I haven't done any work on it, but I'll show you an update on it. But I really want to see how this looks together. I don't want to cast on, well, I do. I always want to cast on. I have another sweater that has been in the back of my brain that I also bought Sonder yarn for at Knit City. And it's, I really want to cast that on, but I also only have a week until MCAL starts. And I don't want to have any other like major projects on the needles for MCAL. I just want to focus on MCAL for the month of October. So we'll see how that goes. So anyway, this is the As Yet Unnamed shawl by Prof Pearl, Professor Pearl YouTube, Professor Pearl podcast. And my stitch marker, remember when I said I like kids crafts? This is a little flower I made with perler beads. My kids call them melty beads. I don't know if there's, anyway, I just made that one day and added a little thing to it. And this, I was just looking for a stitch marker that reminded me of Nicole, and this was the one that kind of reminded me of her, so that's what I put on. This project is living in a bag that I don't know much about, unfortunately. I don't know if there's any, oh, there's a tag on it. Okay, so this is my bag that it's living in. It's so cute. It's got like mermaids and little flowers and stuff on it. And it's got drawstring, which is my fave. I got this at a yarn swap, actually. One of the local sort of knit nights. It's called the Calgary, oh shoot, now what's it called? I have a sticker on my Calgary Crafters Club. They have knit nights quite regularly in Calgary, and they organized a swap. When was it? Like in the last 6 months or so. And people could bring yarn and project bags and fiber and like other things too, like embroidery floss, stuff for cross stitching and embroidery, sewing. You could bring fabric, all that kind of stuff. So it was great. And I got this at a swap. I got this for free. Can you believe that? Can you believe someone was giving this away and didn't want it? Oh my, these poor little mermaids. Anyway, I rescued them, so they're okay now. They're living a happy life now. So my other whip that I was going to talk about is my wool gathering shawl, which is also a design by Prof Pearl. So go check out Nicole if you haven't yet. I know I talk about her a lot, but she's great. She's really, really great. So this is that shawl. So I haven't worked on it. I haven't added any stitches to it. But last time I showed it, I talked about how I was really worried about how my I-cord edge was really, 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 really tight. So I was thinking I might have to rip it out and start over again. And I kind of put it aside because I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to rip it out and start over again, but I didn't want it to be too tight and pucker when I finished it. So one of my viewers, her name is also Melissa, and she's excellent. You should go check her out too. She knits like the fucking wind. Her name is Melissa. Her Instagram is Full O Sheep, Fullo Sheep. I'll put it on here. She is an incredible knitter. She knits so fast. Like if you think I knit fast, she knits so fast. And she knits all this beautiful, like all this color work, and like she's like knitting gold. Anyway, she commented on my video and said, wet block it and let it dry and see if that helps, because sometimes that can help. And it did. So I don't have to rip it out. I've got it back on the needles now. So I put it on like barber cords so I could stretch it, like put it out to its full potential, I guess you'd say. And I wet blocked it and put like my blocking pins in it to stretch it, not to stretch it out, but to like flatten it. And then it worked. I think I might have taken a picture. If I it's windy outside and something's crashed outside. If I did take a picture, hopefully we'll have put that up there. But isn't it pretty? I know it's just the beginning, but it's it's really drapey now that I blocked it. I had just started the lace section there. It's hard now that it's back on the needles to be able to show. Anyway, this yarn is the same, like that Fleece Artist. I've talked about this before. That Fleece Artist halo where there was a skein of fingering and a skein of mohair twisted together, and the color rose gold. I just am obsessed with like the different, like it's a tonal, but it's got so many different shades of pink in it, and it's just, oh, it's so pretty. This is sort of a long-term project because, not really long-term, but I have a lot of other things that if I have something that I can knit fast, I will always kind of choose that over something that's going to take me a long time. This is like, it's not that big. It's one skein of fingering and one skein of mohair. They're not held together. They're in different sections. So it's going to take a little bit longer, but it's going to be so beautiful when it's done. I feel like I just talked a whole bunch of nonsense and didn't make any sense at all. So hopefully all of that made sense. My highlights pullover that I showed you last time, I haven't done any work on that. I don't know why. I really wanted to cast this on and like have that checked off of my mental checklist. Like this is one that's been outstanding for a long time that I really wanted to make, and I just finally wanted to make it. So I cast this on and didn't touch my highlights pullover, which is the like gray tweed with the pink contrast. Yeah, I didn't work on that at all. It's not really like, I really like it, but it's not, for some reason I'm not reaching for it. Like I don't really want to work on it, and I will at some point. Like I just let the knitting talk to me, speak to me, knit me. Like I just go where I'm drawn, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Oh, my hair looks really good today. I'm going for a haircut tonight. Isn't that like, why is that? Why does your hair always look really good on the day that you're going to get your hair done? I don't curl my, like it's curled, but I don't like stand there with a curling iron because I have so much hair it would take forever. I use those heatless curler roller things. I'll put a picture up here. It's you just like roll your hair around it when it's just sort of slightly damp, then sleep, take the thing out, and it looks, I mean, it's kind of flattening out a little bit. I had it in a ponytail earlier when I was working out, but anyway, there's a little bit more about me, I guess. Going to get my hair cut tonight. As you can see, while I'm getting it colored, because you can see this part doesn't really match this part because it takes about 3 hours to get like highlights in my hair because I have so much hair. So I don't go very often. And you can tell because I have 2 different shades of color of hair. Anyway, I'm rambling again. So I have an acquisition. It was one acquisition, but it was a lot. But first I talk about plans. The MCAL, as I have mentioned a number of times, is starting next week. And as I mentioned last time, I got influenced. I was going to say bullied, but that's a very strong word. I got influenced into buying some yarn last episode I talked about, and I was being mean to Justine. Sorry, Justine. I know she's fine with it, but sorry, Justine. Anyway, Justine from my Knit Night was sending me links to MCAL kits from Sonder, and I just went for it and ordered one. And the yarn came, and it is absolutely beautiful. I did a little flat lay picture of it because it's gorgeous. It's stunning. And I got it all wound up, and I knit the swatch. I can put a picture up here of the swatch too. And the yarn is gorgeous. So these are the colors that came in the kit. And I do love it, and I think they're beautiful. But what I'm having trouble with is that these 2 middle colors, this one and this one, while they look different here, like in the light, they're very, very similar in value. So what we're trying to achieve with this gradient is going from light to light/medium to medium to dark. So these 2, when you take a picture of them and put it in, edit it so that it's black and white instead of color, these 2 you can't tell the difference between. And I know that you can tell the difference between the colors when you're looking at them, but it's just bugging me, and it's bugging me a lot. So I think I've made the decision that I'm going to use this for something else. After I went on and on and on about how gorgeous it is. It is really, really beautiful. But I think I need to use it in a different way that's not a gradient. Like using maybe these as stripes with this as a mini stripe in between or something. Just something where they're not right up against each other. Anyway, these are my thoughts. I have another week to decide, but here is what I am going to do. I say with confidence because that's what I do, and then I change my mind. I don't think I'm going to change my mind on this, but you never know. This, I think, oh, that's the wrong order. And I was playing around with colors that I have in my stash. These are all Polka Dot Creek colors because I have a lot of Polka Dot Creek yarn because that's where I work, and it's a massive perk working at a yarn store when you get a discount. So you just buy all the yarn and take it home with you. So I know these are minis, but I don't have full skeins in these colors yet. So I think what I'm going to do when I go to work this week, unless they've done this for me already, I sent a picture to Shelly and Krista, who, like I said, I work with, and asked if maybe I could get this for my MCAL. Let me tell you the colors. This is vintage, so it's a very, very light blushy pink. And then this is dusty rose, so it's more of like a traditional pink, but still light and muted. And then this is antique mauve, so that one's turning from pink almost purple. And then this is chestnut, which is a brown, but it's looking, it's looking a little bit purple in here, but it's not, it's a brown. But I felt like this is a much better gradient because this is definitely light. This is definitely light turning to medium. This is a medium turning to dark, and this is dark. So this is, I feel like this is going to be an excellent gradient, because that is what we're trying to achieve in the geo gradient MCAL. So I think these are going to be coming home with me this week from work. We had a little ordering snafu recently. We were trying to order non-superwash skeins of worsted for our sweater weather sale, which is almost over, by the way. If you still want a sweater quantity hand dyed, well, they're all hand dyed, but especially custom dyed for you, go check out the Polka Dot Creek website. I think the end of the sale is the end of September, I think so, September 30th. So you've got another 5 days, and it's 10% off. Anyway, when we were trying to order non-superwash worsted skeins for our sweater weather sale, we accidentally ordered non-superwash fingering weight skeins, and they're beautiful. I don't remember off the top of my head what the content is of the base. I don't remember. I think it might be just 100% non-superwash merino, but I don't remember. Anyway, it's a high twist. Like, these ones are gorgeous, but there's not a lot of twist. This is our main fingering weight, superwash fingering weight base, and it's gorgeous. It's squishy, and it's, yeah, beautiful. But this non-superwash base that we got is this really gorgeous, like, high twist, and so that's what I asked for. I sent a message last night to Shelly and said, can I please have these 4 colors on our non-superwash high twist base, please, and thank you. So, working on that. Yeah, I think I'll end up with something. I think I'll end up happier with my end project, with my end shawl, if I use like this gradient, which is a bit more of a gradient. I don't know. It just goes around and around and around in my head. So that's that. Okay, I'm gonna try and wrap this up. I have one acquisition, which is sort of a lie, because it was one payment, but there was a few things in it. This past weekend was Knit City in Vancouver, which I didn't go to, but I was definitely having FOMO. And the weekend before that was the Prairie Fiber Festival, which is a local festival here in Lacombe, which is just up about an hour and a half north of Calgary. And I didn't go to that either. And I was having some FOMO, like some fear of missing out, because all of my friends locally, not all of my friends, but there was just a lot of people going and posting pictures and whatever. And I got a little bit of FOMO, and so I ordered a sweater quantity not of hand-dyed yarn, if that makes it any better. The amount of money that I spent on this purchase is probably equal to or less than the amount of money I would have spent if I had been in person at the Fiber Festival surrounded by hand-dyed yarn. So that is how I justify this. I know I don't have to justify it, but that's how I do. A new pattern came out last week, I think it is, by Park and Knit, called the Totally Tubular Turtleneck, I think is what it was called. I'll put, if that's wrong, I'll put that here, and I'll put a link down below, and I'll put a picture up here, because it is so fucking cute. So cute. I knew as soon as she posted pictures of it that I need to make that. It's like a 14 stitch gauge. It is going to fly off the needles, which is my favorite thing. I love casting on and just knitting like the wind. It makes me feel like a superhero. I don't know what I would be saving everyone from. Being cold, I guess. I'm saving everyone from being cold. So anyway, I ordered a sweater quantity of Drops Air in this gorgeous color, because her sample it's like a pinky purple, and one of her sample knitter or test knitters did it in this color, and I loved it. The sweater that Park knit her sample in, the yarn that she knit her sample in was Knit Picks Wonder Fluff, which is basically like the same sort of thing as Drops Air. It's Drops Air, Lion Brand, Chain It, Hobby, Divina, like all of those, like blown, like it's a tube that the fiber is blown into. Knit Picks is only in the US, and like I said, I don't like to order things from the US because the exchange rate is so crazy. But luckily we have lots of Drops Air here. So I ordered these from the Beehive Wool Shop in Victoria, because they have a large selection of Drops Air. There are some stores in Calgary that have a little bit of Drops Air, but they didn't have the selection of the colors that I was looking for. So the Beehive was the next best thing. So this is, like I said, Drops Air. This is the color Magenta, or color 39. So I ordered the yarn for that turtleneck with this yarn, with this color. And then I was looking at all the other colors, and I was like, ooh, well, it would look good in that color, and it would look good in that color. I think we've all gone down that rabbit hole where you're like, I want to make this, and it would look good in that color, and it would look good in that color, and it would look good in that color, and I probably should just get all the colors. So that's what I did. I also ordered a sweater quantity of this color, which is called, I think it's called Beige Mix. It is color number 26. So I think it would also look beautiful in this color. While I was doing all this Drops Air stuff, I was looking at projects on Ravelry that had been made with Drops Air. And so I have a bunch of different other patterns, ideas, so I don't have to make I ordered 4 different colors. When it arrived, it was in a box, and I was like, okay, like, calm down, Beehive. Like, it's not that much that you had to send me a box. No, I opened it and it was jammed full. Okay, maybe I got a little out of control. So I also ordered this color, which is called, I think it's called Bluebird, but it's color number 37. I've never made anything with a bright blue before, but I've seen a lot of people post things with bright blue, and I think that looks really, really awesome, and so I've got that. And I also ordered this, which is a really beautiful kind of like camel-y brown, and it's called Clay, I think, and it's color number 35. So I have sweater quantities in all 4 colors. So I'm gonna be busy, but I love those sweaters with that sort of, those blown tube. You can use nice big needles and they work up really fast. I can make more Amapola cardigans, which I've made 2 of already. I probably won't make another one of those because I already have 2. But I have lots of other patterns in mind that I can make. I'm definitely gonna make at least 1 of those turtlenecks, if not 2 or 3. But we'll see. Yeah, so I am going to come back to you hopefully in 2 weeks, hopefully with some MCAL progress. Thank you to everyone who commented below last time and was encouraging about the MCAL and the things that they love about it. It seems, I'm excited to be part of the worldwide community of people who are doing this. I'm not gonna lie, I'm equal parts excited about it and terrified at the same time, because Stephen West can be a little Stephen Westy, and it's a little scary, but I'm excited to maybe learn some new techniques and just have some fun with color. And I'm a little scared of how many frickin' ends I'm gonna have to weave in with 4 colors, but I'm just going to take it as it comes and try to enjoy the experience. And we'll see how I'm doing when I come back next week, if I want to kill Stephen West or if I'm still enjoying it. 1 week in, we'll see. Anyway, I think that was all I had to talk about today. So I will sign off, and then I'm gonna edit, and then I'm gonna get my hair cut tonight, so I may look a little different next time. I don't know. I always go in with ideas in my head, and then I chicken out. So I'm not going to tell you what my idea is ahead of time, because I might chicken out and I might just look like the same but without the dark roots. So we'll see. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all of my viewers who follow along with me, and for anyone who's new and checking me out. I hope you liked it. I forgot to say at the very beginning, hello, welcome. I am a flaming liberal, and I didn't really say anything overly liberal or left-leaning today, which is unfortunate. I usually try to slide something in, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy swear words. If you don't, this may not be the right podcast for you. Anyway, signing off. I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye. Happy knitting.